Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Now let's carefully analyze the latest statement circulating in dinar communities, which suggests that notifications could arrive on Monday, with exchanges potentially beginning on Tuesday. According to the wording, this is described as the latest that we got, followed by the acknowledgement that we will have to see how it comes together. As responsible analysts, it's important to approach such statements with clarity, caution, and context. Short phrases like this can generate strong reactions in speculative currency circles, especially when specific days of the week are mentioned. However, timing-based statements without official confirmation from recognized financial institutions or government authorities require careful interpretation. When we talk about notifications and exchanges, the first question serious investors should ask is notifications from whom? In formal financial systems, exchange rate adjustments or currency reforms are communicated through central banking channels. In Iraq's case, official announcements would come from the Central Bank of Iraq or through coordinated government statements supported by the Iraqi Ministry of Finance. These communications are typically structured, documented, and released through established channels, not informal message chains. Similarly, if there were to be any structured exchange process related to currency reform or redenomination, it would involve licensed financial institutions operating within regulatory frameworks. Iraq's monetary policy decisions are not made in isolation. They are influenced by domestic fiscal planning, oil revenue management, regional stability, and coordination with international financial bodies, such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The mention of a specific weekday, such as Monday for notifications and Tuesday for exchanges, can create a sense of immediacy. However, in global finance, large-scale currency adjustments do not typically follow informal countdowns. They involve pre-announced policy meetings, regulatory preparation, liquidity management, and market stabilization measures. In the case of Iraq, exchange rate policy changes have historically been announced through formal documentation and implemented via controlled banking channels. Let's consider what this statement could realistically imply within a professional economic framework. There are generally three possibilities when we hear claims about imminent exchanges. First, it could refer to routine banking processes unrelated to a revaluation or structural change. Second, it could reflect speculative community expectations rather than official policy. Third, it could represent early-stage rumors that have not yet been confirmed through institutional communication. It is crucial to differentiate between community chatter and macroeconomic reality. Iraq's economy is heavily oil-dependent, with crude exports forming the majority of government revenue. Any significant change to the Iraqi dinar's exchange rate would have direct implications for fiscal policy, government budgeting, foreign reserves, and import pricing. The Central Bank of Iraq closely monitors foreign currency reserves and inflation metrics to maintain financial stability. Sudden, unstructured rate adjustments could destabilize trade balances and create inflationary pressure. In recent years, Iraq has taken measured steps in monetary policy. For example, previous adjustments to the official exchange rate were executed through formal channels and justified within the context of fiscal deficits and oil revenue management. These moves were coordinated and explained through official press releases, not through speculative scheduling. From a short-term perspective, if there were truly official notifications coming, we would expect to see corresponding preparatory indicators. These might include official circulars to banks, liquidity adjustments in currency auctions, or formal government press briefings. Without these signals, it is more prudent to view such claims as unverified. The phrase, "We'll have to see how that comes together," is actually a critical part of the statement. It acknowledges uncertainty. That uncertainty is key. Financial analysts must operate on verifiable data, not anticipation. In global currency markets, transparency and regulatory structure are essential for maintaining confidence. Let's discuss what a real exchange process would entail if Iraq were to implement a monetary reform or redenomination. First, there would be legislative alignment between the executive branch and parliament. Second, there would be coordination between the Central Bank of Iraq and commercial banks to ensure logistical readiness. Third, there would be public awareness campaigns to prevent panic and misinformation. None of these processes happen overnight. Additionally, international partners would be aware of such moves. Iraq's financial system is interconnected with global markets through oil contracts, trade agreements, and sovereign debt arrangements. Major currency adjustments affect international stakeholders. For that reason, they are rarely sudden surprises. From the perspective of Iraqi dinar holders outside Iraq, it is especially important to understand the difference between official exchange rates and speculative parallel market rates. Iraq currently operates with an official rate determined by the central bank, while parallel market rates can fluctuate based on supply and demand conditions. Any legitimate change would first be reflected in the official rate and documented through credible financial reporting platforms. In the short term, rumors like this can increase emotional volatility among dinar followers. Excitement can spike, expectations can rise, and social media discussions can intensify. However, markets respond to policy, not anticipation. Without documentation, there is no actionable economic shift. In the medium term, Iraq's currency outlook depends on structural reforms. These include anti-corruption measures, banking sector modernization, digital payment expansion, and diversification away from oil dependency. The government has repeatedly emphasized economic reform programs designed to strengthen financial transparency and attract foreign investment. Those reforms are gradual and strategic. In the long term, the value of the Iraqi dinar will be influenced by macroeconomic fundamentals. These include GDP growth, fiscal discipline, foreign reserves, political stability, and regional security conditions. As Iraq continues to rebuild infrastructure and stabilize its political environment, investor confidence can improve. However, currency strength is a reflection of sustained economic performance, not a sudden announcement. It is also important to address risk management. Currency speculation carries uncertainty. Exchange rates fluctuate based on complex economic forces. Responsible financial behavior means avoiding decisions based solely on unverified timelines. Diversification, due diligence, and consultation with licensed financial professionals are key principles in managing exposure to any currency market. When analyzing statements like this one, we must ask whether they align with institutional behavior. Central banks prioritize predictability and stability. If there were a scheduled change, it would likely coincide with policy meetings or formal releases. The absence of corroborating information suggests that this statement should be treated as speculative until confirmed. Another factor to consider is liquidity infrastructure. For exchanges to begin on a Tuesday, as claimed, financial institutions would need prior preparation. Compliance systems, anti-money laundering checks, transaction reporting mechanisms, and currency supply logistics would all need to be operational. These preparations are not invisible, they involve regulatory coordination. Furthermore, Iraq's financial reforms have increasingly emphasized modernization. Electronic payment systems and banking digitization are expanding. Any future currency reform would likely incorporate technological safeguards to ensure transparency and prevent misuse. Again, such systems require planning. Let's also examine the psychological element. Specific day predictions can create short-term spikes in attention and engagement. However, repeated unfulfilled timelines can erode credibility within communities. That is why we stress balanced analysis and patience. If notifications were genuinely issued by official bodies, credible financial media would report it. Global currency news platforms monitor exchange rate changes closely. Therefore, confirmation would not remain confined to informal channels. In terms of potential short-term implications, if there were even a minor official policy adjustment, we could expect temporary fluctuations in parallel market rates. Importers and traders would react quickly to changes in official pricing. Banks might adjust spreads to manage risk exposure. However, these movements would follow confirmed announcements. In the longer-term scenario, meaningful appreciation of the Iraqi dinar would require structural economic strength, increased oil production efficiency, stable export revenues, diversification into non-oil sectors, reduced fiscal deficits, and improved investor confidence would all contribute. Sustainable appreciation is a result of economic fundamentals aligning over time. It's also worth mentioning that Iraq continues to engage with international financial institutions to strengthen governance and fiscal discipline. Programs supported by institutions like the International Monetary Fund emphasize transparency, budget reform, and reserve management. These are the building blocks of currency stability. The key takeaway from this latest claim is that timing speculation does not equal policy action. Until there is documented evidence from recognized authorities, such statements should be viewed as unconfirmed expectations rather than actionable developments. As followers of Iraqi Dinar news, your advantage lies in staying informed through verified sources. Monitor official statements from the Central Bank of Iraq. Watch for documented exchange rate updates and track macroeconomic indicators. These provide real insight into the direction of the currency. Patience is essential in currency markets. Economic transformation is rarely instantaneous. Iraq's progress is measurable through reforms, infrastructure development, and fiscal management, not through countdown announcements. To summarize, the statement about Monday notifications and Tuesday exchanges currently lacks official confirmation. While it reflects optimism within certain circles, responsible analysis requires documented evidence. Short-term market reactions depend on official action, not speculation. Long-term currency value depends on sustained economic reform and stability. We will continue to monitor developments carefully and provide updates grounded in factual reporting and economic analysis. If any verified announcements emerge from the Central Bank of Iraq or other credible authorities, we will break them down here in a clear and balanced way. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for responsible and factual Iraqi dinar updates. This content is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Always conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.